Back in 2016, I was volunteering at the film festival Monster Fest, and the closing film for the festival was the much hyped The Greasy Strangler. I remember watching this film and laughing so hard at one particular scene in this movie that I was gasping for air, struggling to breathe, and crying all at once. Watching this movie was a one-of-a-kind experience because it's a truly one-of-a-kind film, and undisputedly the absolute best film of 2016.
Ho 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 ho! Delightfully devilish, Seymour.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to Delightfully Devilish, the show where we discuss films that all at once meet the criteria of being the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm your host, Jukebox Harry, and today I am really gonna fuck you up. One of the biggest complaints about mainstream cinema in the modern day is that nothing is original anymore. Everything is a remake, a carbon copy, a rehash, a sequel, a reboot. And then there's this film. The Greasy Strangler is a 2016 black comedy horror film, and that title is not a metaphor for anything. It is about exactly what that promises. In the last 3 years, there have been about 3 films that I would give 9 stars out of 10 to. That'd be Brawl in Cell Block 99, Joker, and Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. But the last time I actually gave 5 stars to any movie that came out, it would have to be The Greasy Strangler. To put my love of this movie into words is actually an impossible challenge. I was in a Q&A that ended up on the special edition home media release of this film. I have made countless memes about this movie because of course I would. I can never even look at a potato the same way again because of this film. That's how much this movie has touched me. And The Greasy Strangler is actually going to be a difficult film for me to talk about on this show because I always recount a movie by showing its highlights or its most ridiculous moments, and this movie is nothing but exactly those 2 things. So I can't actually show you this movie without spoiling it. I'm just going to have to try to condense it down to moments that I have a specific appreciation for and that have a certain relevance to the plot. So wish me luck. The Greasy Strangler starts with an introduction of father and son duo Braden and Ronnie, the latter of whom has a fixation on grease.
I just wonder why they haven't tried greasy coffee.
Greasy coffee?
You probably think I'm the Greasy Strangler.
I never said that.
Tell you a secret. I am the Greasy Strangler.
Hey, I call bullshit on that.
Okay. I'm not the Greasy Strangler.
But you're a bullshit artist.
Yeah, I kinda am.
Immediately, the film gives you a taste of the uneasy atmosphere and weird characters that are yet to come. But trust me, you haven't seen anything yet. Ronnie and Braden run a walking disco tour of Los Angeles.
I thought free drinks were included in this tour.
No! There's no free drinks. I don't know where you got that idea.
It said in the brochure.
The information you got is bullshit.
We don't need even fizzy drinks. Just water would be enough.
You got false information.
We must have free drinks.
No free drinks.
Free drinks now!
No free drinks.
Come on, we want free drinks.
Free drinks. We must have free drinks.
No free drinks.
Free drinks. Free drinks.
Free drinks! Free drinks! Free drinks!
Free drinks! Free drinks! Free drinks! Free drinks! Free drinks! Free drinks!
No free drinks.
Fried drinking.
Nix. Try drink.
You must give me free drinks immediately.
Drop it with the free drinks crap.
We believe in the power of free drinks.
There are no free drinks. And if you're trying to rip me a new asshole, you're making a big mistake.
You are a shitty businessman. You know that now.
And you're a bunch of fucking cunts. Check my cheeks.
One thing about the sense of humor in this film is that director Jim Hosking likes to intentionally let jokes go on for a ridiculously long amount of time, beyond the point of them being funny, to the point where they get so awkward that they actually become funny again. And goddammit, he manages to hit it right every time. Braden takes a liking to one of the customers, played by Elizabeth Durasso from Eastbound and Down, the biggest star in the film.
My name's Braden.
Braden. Is that Scottish?
It's not Scottish. What's your name?
I'm Janet.
Hey! Stop talking to the customer and help Dad with his shorts.
Now I want to share with you a scene which I simply consider to be the single greatest movie scene of all time.
What flavor chips did you eventually decide upon?
Who cares? They were paprika-rich chips. I like the ridges. I put the tip of my tongue between ridges because that is where the salty chip dust is.
Yes, that's so true. I love riches.
Yes, but what are these chips made from?
Potato.
Excuse me, what?
Potato.
Can you say that again?
Potato.
Yes, but what are these chips made from?
Potato.
Sorry, but what?
Potato.
I don't understand. Can you say that again?
Potato.
Please, one more time.
Potato.
Okay, this is embarrassing. But please, can you say it a little slower?
Potato.
I am very, very sorry, but I need to know what are these chips made from?
Potato.
Please, one last time.
Potato.
I think he's trying to say potato.
Oh, yes. Potato. Potato chips.
Remember how I said I could never see a potato the same way again? Remember how I said this movie made me laugh to the point that I was gasping for air and crying? This scene did all that. This is just simply beyond words. I fucking love this moment. But of course, this scene, like many other moments in the film, is completely irrelevant to the central plot, because all these characters end up getting killed a second later when a mysterious figure approaches them.
Maybe it's not a man. Maybe he's the boogie woogie.
First, the Scandinavian tourist gets his head smashed into the vending machine, and then the actor from That's My Boy gets his face punched in. And finally, the potato man gets strangled to death.
Am I dead yet?
The Greasy Strangler goes to clean himself at a local car wash where he's friends with the blind owner, Big Paul.
And here's 10 for the wash. And I'm gonna go use your bathroom.
Oh, you go right ahead, Big Ronnie.
You're gonna see a lot of Big Ronnie's artificial dong in this film, so just be prepared for that. Braden and Janet go out on a date.
Okay, you two can fuck off tonight.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
I could feast on that queen's ass all night long.
Out on their date, Braden talks about his parents splitting up and the negative experiences he had with his stepfather, Ricky Prickles.
He's a professional sports coach. He's got the most defined six-pack I've ever seen.
Ooh, tell this girl more.
I went to stay with Mom and Ricky once. He made me punch him in his six-pack. He didn't feel anything because the muscles were so hard. It was like punching a vacuum-packed bag of roasted sausages. Then he made me do abdominal crunches with him. Barfed all over his carpet. My barf was real orange and tasted fizzy. Ricky Prickles was so mad, he smacked me twice in the face with the flat of his hand.
Ricky the Pricky.
Then he molested me. Sexually harassed me.
How old were you?
18. I had long golden hair and a soft mustache.
Meanwhile, Ronnie goes out to get a hot dog.
That'll be uno, dos, tres bucks.
What the fuck is this shit?
This is one famous chili cheese dog.
No, this isn't right. I need more grease on this. I need more oil.
Sir, I cannot do that. It's against regulations. I could lose my license. Hey, what are you doing? You're not allowed to touch that. That's dangerous equipment. You could burn yourself. I could lose my license.
I'm gonna dunk Big Ronnie's dog all the way in. This dog is fully dunked.
There is a special type of acting in The Greasy Strangler. Everyone is phenomenally over the top in so many different ways, but they're all consistently on the same wavelength, so everything just feels right. Ronnie comes back later as the Greasy Strangler, killing the vendor. Then we have a sex scene, which serves a solid competition with The Room as being the most awkward sex scene of all time.
Like this? Like this, Janet? I don't know if I'm doing it right, Janet. I don't know if I'm doing it right, Janet. Like this? Is this right? Janet. I don't know if I'm doing it right, Janet.
And the next morning, Ronnie makes a fairly disturbing attempt to seduce her. Later that evening, Ronnie goes out and kills Braden's friend Oinker.
Fuck me! This is amazing!
No matter how many times I watch this film, that one moment right there, that scene manages to irk me. Ronnie demands to spend a night alone with Janet, threatening to evict Braden if he doesn't comply.
Okay, you're not really evicted, but you will be if you don't let me spend some time getting to know Janet.
But she seems nice. She seems like a nice, true girl.
I don't want this cunt to fuck you up and leave you lonely.
The night in question is composed mostly of a lot of really awkward disco dancing, and Ronnie telling his stories about hanging out with Michael Jackson.
And then these two Korean twins came on to us, so we took them into the manager's office and we started pumping away at them. And Michael and I were just pumping, and then we sprayed them with hot milky cum, and everybody applauded. Then he gave me one of his gloves and I drove him to the airport. He was going to Rome for some top secret meeting.
I'm fairly certain I'm overthinking this, but I can't help but wonder that the story ends with Michael Jackson going to Rome so that he can meet with the Vatican so that he can molest some of their children. See, Jim Hosking, his style of filmmaking, it could go either way, honestly. This could just be me, or it could be exactly what he was thinking. I don't know. Ronnie also attempts to make a move on Janet, which she rebuffs. Then the film breaks for an extended sequence of Ronnie doing random disco dancing moves in the spotlight. And yes, this is the clip from my intro. This review actually marks the point where I've reviewed every movie in the delightfully devilish intro scenes. So, yay. Ronnie gets a call saying that his friend Oinker has been killed.
Okay, so now I'm shit scared, Janet. I'm thinking I'm going to investigate the Greasy Strangler killings myself.
Ronnie takes a sample of grease from the murder scene and tests things by feeding it to his father.
Where did you get it?
I think you have an idea where I got it, Dad. I think you know exactly where I got this delicious oil!
Then Braden has phone sex with Janet. Every scene in this film finds a new way to make you feel awkward. And speaking of which...
Oh, I feel so sexy. But seriously, imagine if I farted now.
On the way out the door, Janet gets accosted by Ronnie again.
Want to come in and do something sensual?
Janet throws everything with Braden away just so she can bang his father. It doesn't feel right, but nothing in this film is meant to, so honestly, it's consistent. Then there's an extended sequence of Ronnie and Braden dropping the word shit just as many times as humanly possible.
Bullshit, horse shit, cat shit, tiger shit, lion shit, duck shit, walrus shit, penguin shit, king penguin shit.
I actually made a drinking game out of this movie. You need at least 3 people, and you each get a word, and when that word is said on screen, you drink. One of those words is grease/greasy, one of those words is shit, and one of those words is disco. If you got shit, then this scene is going to be your angel of death.
Because last night I claimed her pussy.
Oh, you claimed her pussy, but you never claimed her heart!
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
You're so much more than a hot wet pussy.
What the hell is even that?
I'm a hootie, tootie, disco cutie.
Hootie, tootie, disco cutie. Hootie, tootie, disco cutie.
And if you ended up with the word disco, then this scene is your angel of death. Braden meets Janet in the kitchen, telling her he loves her, which suddenly wins her back, and Ronnie turns back into the Greasy Strangler and kills Big Paul, because why not? Braden follows up on his suspicions that his father is the Greasy Strangler, so he contacts an investigator.
A detective is coming tomorrow. His name is Jody.
And somehow the investigator Jody turns out to just be Ronnie in another disguise.
Unfortunately, I cannot proceed with this case any further, as there is no evidence. Please end all inquiries here.
Later that night, everyone gets into an argument, and Ronnie comes back as the Greasy Strangler to run off with Janet. But Braden comes up with an idea.
I can be a Greasy Strangler too. You're not the only Greasy Strangler. I'm the Greasy Strangler too!
Now, if you really plan to watch this film one day, I would suggest that you skip to this part of the video because I do not want to spoil the ending for you. But if you don't intend to, then follow on. Braden tracks Ronnie down to a cinema where he's strangling Janet. Yep, bet you didn't see that one coming. They bond as father and son, eating your eyes together, getting cleaned up together, and then patching up their relationship.
You're all right, Braden, but you really annoyed me. Your food was dry, and you made it really hard to score ass. Look, I'm being honest here.
Fair enough, I reckon, mate.
That's probably why I screwed your girlfriend up the butthole.
I reckon, mate.
Yeah, he just starts doing an Australian accent out of the blue.
She was disgusting, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was gross.
Gotta say, she was kinda gross.
Her pussy hair was like dried grass.
Yeah, like the kind you see on those African wildlife shows. Sort of all dry and orangey.
After bonding over their mutual dislike of Janet, Braden comes up with a new idea.
Let's kill Ricky Prickles.
Let's
kill Ricky Prickles.
Let's kill Ricky Prickles. Let's kill Ricky Prickles!
They chase down Ricky Prickles and kill him, and then we get the film's twist ending. If you can't actually make any sense of the ending to this film, don't worry, you are not alone. Countless people have come to director Jim Hosking and said, does the ending to the film mean this, or does it mean this, or does it mean this? And he gives the same response every single time. Yes. And that's all he says. And the film ends with the Greasy Stranglers breaking the fourth wall and preparing to attack you, the viewer. Is The Greasy Strangler a good film?
I reckon, mate.
The Greasy Strangler is not a film for everyone. In fact, it's not a film for most people. It is a shameless assault on the idea of good taste, and that's what I love about it. I've seen people walk out of the cinema watching this movie. I've had people beg me to turn this movie off when I've been screening it for them. That's how powerful the reactions can be watching this movie. Like Freddy Got Fingered or That's My Boy, The Greasy Strangler is an exploration of bad taste, but it's a lot more surreal and artistic to the point that it's really difficult to actually compare this movie to anything. The Greasy Strangler feels like Napoleon Dynamite in terms of awkwardness and some of the cinematography, but it also has the surrealism and 70s lighting of a very dark David Lynch film. It actually has the balance between insane and sheer genius that you'd think would come from a collaboration between Stanley Kubrick and Tommy Wiseau. These are all names and films that you would never think would come together in comparison to a single movie. The best thing about The Greasy Strangler is the originality of everything in the film. The story combines elements of a slasher film with body horror as one plot line, while the other is a love triangle and a father-son story which keeps on taking twists and detours. Nothing about the story in The Greasy Strangler is ever the slightest bit predictable, and even when it's surreal to the point of being completely bereft of sensibility or understanding, this all feels very normal. Some films get so self-indulgent and convoluted with their lack of story sensibility that the film ends up disappearing up its own ass at one point. Movies like this include The Vampire's Kiss or In the Mouth of Madness. The Greasy Strangler, however, this film is actually weirder than the both of them, but actually feels a lot more normal than the both of them at the same time. And a large part of that is because director Jim Hosking is actually able to establish his own universe for the film. All the characters have their own eccentricities to them, and it gives each character their own sense of identity, making them all individually hilarious. And the universe of the film feels like a Wes Anderson movie at times. There is a sense of German expressionism in the film, with the use of 70s inspired lighting and dilapidated colour scheme creating a universe that feels modern day and realistic, while also otherworldly and artificial. The same can be said about the film's use of visual effects, and also the prosthetics. They're designed thoroughly enough to be both believable and notoriously artificial at the same time. And the cinematography often feels like it's straight out of a Wes Anderson film. The fine line that the Greasy Strangler walks is that everything feels wrong, but everything also feels right. Nothing about the logic makes sense, but everything makes sense. Nothing looks convincing, but everything feels convincing. The story is completely irrelevant with all its plot points, but everything feels completely in place. And the soundtrack is something else. The work of Andrew Hung on the soundtrack to The Greasy Strangler, it actually feels a lot like the soundtrack to Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Doll. If you've ever played that game has an awesome cartoonish soundtrack, and Andrew Hung actually manages to channel elements of it into this film somehow. I don't think that was his inspiration, but that was just the feeling I got. And as a final note, the cast in The Greasy Strangler are just perfect. Jim Hosking creates a thoroughly strange universe for the film, but a large part of the believability comes from the fact that the cast managed to somehow create realistic and sympathetic characters. Sky Alobar makes Braden an awkward but lovable lead, who somehow manages to explore many different emotions throughout the many weird scenes in the film. Michael St. Michaels creates a very intense villain whose line delivery is matched by the sheer intensity in his stare. Elizabeth Durazo makes Janet a likable character, thus making her unpredictable decisions regarding Ronnie later in the story a lot more shocking. And despite their small tenure of screen time, Sam Dissanayake, Abdoulaye Ngom, and Holland McFallister charge the film with intense comic energy. The Greasy Strangler gets a solid 10 hootie tootie disco cuties out of 10. It is a surreal tour de force in exploring the art of bad taste, and it is shocking, hilarious, and thoroughly original, as well as serving as a big calling card for Jim Hosking as a one-of-a-kind filmmaker. And that does it for today's episode of Delightfully Devilish, you guys. If there are any movies you want me to discuss on this show, please leave them in the comment section below. If you want to see more episodes, please hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, until next time, I have been your host, Jukebox Harry. Peace.
Excuse me, what?